Hi guys, Favor here.
Clinton.
And today on the pod, what did we speak about?
So everything from live, living life in a
Taking your
godly
life
way,
seriously.
taking your yes, that's so. We were really deep.
Yeah.
I think we went to really deep this segment.
Yeah.
So we spoke on everything you should know if you're an entrepreneur. You want to really get your life in order. Favor spoke a lot about what to if you are looking for your next biggest thing, how you can go about it. She's really deep on that matter. And yeah, so really, really amazing session. And tell me more about what we spoke
Yeah,
about.
what else did we speak about? We also spoke about the Africa Startup Fest and
Yes,
Africa Tech
yes, yes,
Expo.
that
Yeah,
too.
so both of them are coming this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
In June and November respectively.
Yeah, and there's one in Nairobi.
Yep, the
Yeah.
startup festival. So if you're a founder, you live in East Africa. We're bringing together folks who are doing amazing things in the East African region, alongside Antler, ALX Ventures, Clarplexo, Madika Ventures. Some of the most really interesting investors that you would want to be speaking with
Yeah.
are coming to Nairobi in May 30th. So just go to Africa Startup Festival on Instagram and you will be able to see about it.
Yeah. And finally, we answered a question from a listener
Yes.
that I think you would really, really benefit from was about
Yes.
money and, bringing your eye down when it
Mm.
comes to money. Yeah. So we hope you enjoy this episode.
We hope so too.
Yeah. Have fun
Have fun.
and
Have a good day.
bye. Hi, people. Welcome to another beautiful episode of the Cafe One Pod, coming to you straight from our studio, our beautiful, amazing studio in VI. Yeah, we have a studio in VI. I have to sell that market. I'm sorry. I have to sell markets. Money has to be made. This is not our only studio. We have a studio in Unilag as well. We have one in Enugu. We have one in Uyo. And definitely one coming to somewhere near you. As usual, we have a guest today on the Cafe One Pod. But before I introduce our guest, or before he introduces himself, because I don't like to introduce my guests, please, they should come and do all the work. Let me not say the one that they don't want me to say. Right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the right time. I'm looking at you in my eyes and into your own eyes. This is the time to subscribe to this podcast. If you've not subscribed to this podcast, why? Like, what are we here for? What are we here for if you've not subscribed to this video? Please, YouTube, subscribe, Spotify, subscribe, follow us on our social media at Cafe One Pod. Now, let's get straight into the pod for today. And we have Clinton in the house. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I would have clapped for. Yeah, you can clap for yourself.
Yeah.
Welcome, Clinton.
Thank
welcome, welcome to the Cafe One Pod. Lovely to have you. I've been trying to get this young man on this podcast since maybe last year. It was actually last year.
Maybe late last year. Yeah.
If you want,
Late last
call
year.
it December 31st last year. It was last year. And mind you, it was not, in fact, it wasn't December. It was maybe October.
Oh, for real?
Maybe, yeah. It was maybe October. And he's always jetting out. So, like, I've not been able to lock him down. But this time around, I told him, if you don't come, I will find you. And I will drag you here.
Yeah.
So he came. I didn't have to.
At all.
I didn't have to drag him
had
today.
To obey you.
Yeah. Welcome, Clinton.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the Cafe One Pod. How do you feel today?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling cozy. I'm in a cafe one pot.
Yeah.
It's obvious to feel cozy. Yeah, but yeah, I feel well. Thank you for inviting me, and yeah. looking forward.
Amazing. You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us a little bit more, in case the people watching do not know who you are. You are wrong though if you don't know who he is, but
Okay,
let him tell us about himself.
Yes, my name is Nemeka Clinton, and I lead the team at Spark. You might know Spark Africa. You might know Spark. And what we do a whole lot is to provide a platform to support startups, enterprises, businesses in Africa. So, if you know the Africa Tech Expo, if you know the Africa Startup Festival, if you know the Investment Summit, if you know a couple of events that we do, so we just basically bring folks together to provide a platform to support the work that they do and potentially get them a step closer to their next biggest goals.
Amazing. Great stuff. So he helps people. And please, you have to help me.
I will.
You need to help
I
me
will.
after this because
No problems.
we've been discussing.
We have
We
actually.
need
We
billions.
have. We
We need
have. We
funds.
have.
So
That's
please.
national cake.
Okay. So let's start easy,
Okay.
right? So can you just tell us a little bit like about your career,
Okay.
your how you are where you are today,
Okay.
right? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So first off, thank you for having me. After 6 months. Yeah. But then, so I'm a brands and marketing person.
Okay.
I'm a or let me say I get the job done. If you give me
Mm.
business, I give you my own business. So I get the job done. So yeah, so pretty much a big part of the work that I do
Mm-hmm.
is around steering Spark to
Okay.
ensure we kind of like get together some of the most interesting people
Okay.
in the African tech ecosystem. Now, this is from both enterprises to
Okay.
startups, getting them together, people who
Yeah.
you would never get on LinkedIn. And so to do tech business, right?
Mm.
So, and I think a lot of the genesis of it all was around the passion to kind of like change how we think about events in
Mm.
Africa,
Yeah.
change how we think about providing platforms to support startups, support
Yeah.
enterprises
Yeah.
in the region. You'll see that a lot of the most successful events, successful activities in Africa are powered by companies who are registered abroad. In
Okay.
UK, in
Yeah.
US,
Yeah.
some of the most successful events currently they are either number one powered by companies who are registered or incorporated outside Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and also who have international funding of
Mm.
some sort, right?
Mm.
Or they actually just backed by or is a subsidiary of a very larger company
Yeah.
which is not in Africa. That is one.
Yes.
Or they are either backed by the government. So you will see events like GITEX. They are powered by the Moroccan government, I
Yeah.
think. And so we're like, okay, this can't be it. This can't just be it. For us back home, how do we come together? How do we get to know what you're doing? How do we get to support the work that you're doing? How do we get
Mm-hmm.
to connect you to people who could, just like how Cafe One does, either be your spouse, be your business partner, and it has really been an interesting ride so far.
Mm.
We still have a very long way to go,
Yeah.
a very long way to go. But I think that's in terms of successes, I think that there is that need to look back at the impact and be grateful. I think one of the most really outstanding impacts and testimonies that I've had, when I say testimonies now, it sounds like church, but then one of the most interesting, feedbacks I've gotten
Yeah.
is this lady. So we held the first Africa Tech Expo in Abuja.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ah,
that was like two
interesting.
years ago,
How come
2023.
though? Like, I've never heard about
Uh,
a tech festival in
exactly.
Abuja. Oh.
So well, this is
Mm.
why no one just springs out. There is that,
Yeah.
So
True, true,
exactly.
true.
So we had the first of it in Abuja. It was a
Okay.
mess. It was a flop, to be honest. But
Ah.
then one thing that I can get vividly from that event or that activity was this. There was this lady. So it was her birthday the next day.
Okay.
Okay. And then she came to that event with one need. She needed to land a job
Mm.
and she desperately needed a job. In fact, she had, I can recall she said that she was hoping and praying that she would get a job on her birthday, which was the next day,
The next day.
either the next day or the next week. So she came with flyers,
Okay.
and on the flyers was her CV. Exactly. So this is And this is why when you
Wow,
come to
people are so
events,
creative, oh,
you have to be
honestly.
intentional about events. It's
Yeah,
not about, oh,
yeah,
networking. You need to
yeah,
be really intentional. So the lady came with flyers, and in those flyers was her profile and her CV,
yeah.
and she shared it to, like, she came with like a pack and she exhausted it. Every single person she would say, take, this is about me.
Mm,
I'm looking for a role. Take. And tell me why I opened Twitter like the next 2 days, and I saw she said she landed a role on her birthday.
really?
Exactly.
Oh, that's so
I was like,
nice.
this is really nice that she met someone at the expo, and they got to chat, and she
Mm,
just left. I went to meet the other person. That interaction, and she said that was really like that she could not envisage landing a role. She just wanted to just vibe and give it to people.
yeah,
No
yeah.
real expectations. They were just praying, oh, maybe not. And I just go on Twitter the next few days, and I saw someone say, oh, she met this lady, or he met this lady, and the lady said that she got a role on her birthday from someone she met at the expo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one of many others that I don't
Yeah,
even
you
know.
don't know about. Mm-hmm.
Even there was this other time, we had a mixer with Norskin. So Norskin is a growth stage fund, and they invest in growth
Yeah.
stage companies. And we had the mixer, and I think that mixer was to connect Norskin with some of the growth stage companies that they could invest in.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 days later, someone called me. I was like, Clinton, have you thought about monetizing these events in terms of, if people close deals at these events, how do you
Mm,
make money
true.
out of it?
True.
Although that is very hard to
Is that
track.
person an Igbo person?
Yes. So she called me and said, because I'm asking because someone told me he closed a 1 billion naira deal at the mixer.
And you did not get a
I
cut.
not take it.
See,
I and at that
see.
event, I was struggling to make that event happen. Like
And somebody was collecting 1 billion.
exactly. And the guy, I don't even. I just met him that day, and that was it.
Mm,
But the lady called me. I was like, okay, that guy that I brought to your mixer, he told me that he got a 1 billion naira, deal
yeah.
at the event. I'm like, okay, what do we do? I'm like, okay. Something's my story has to change. You get so my story has to really change. So, but then I think this is really what really drives the work that we do.
Yeah.
You get to and we are very intentional, or we try to be very intentional about experiences.
Yeah.
We are not funded by any person per se. We're not funded by any government or any fund. We are actually looking for that kind of investment in case you want to invest in us. But then, although our model is different, it's more
Mm,
of a private equity model than a
okay.
VC model. But then that is by the way. So yeah, we try to really think around these events and think about how do we ensure every 1 cent someone spends on this event, they get value out of it.
Mm,
You know, it's these events are quite big, so you can't track everything. But as much as possible, how do you ensure that people get value from what uh from their participation?
yes.
And yeah, so that is really what guides the work that we do, and we try with each activity
Mm-hmm.
to ensure we do better than the previous one. And yeah, but then our focus is really to get the most successful people in the same room, or in one room, to do
Yeah, to do
business
business.
and to really handshake on deals. Yeah.
Okay. So there's something that you said that caught my attention because we had one of a leader in HR. We had him on the pod like at some point this year, earlier in the year.
Okay.
And this thing you said about networking,
Mm,
this person that came into an event, they came with their CVs printed on a flyer,
mm,
just came with something different, right? To set yourself apart when you're
mm,
networking. Then he also said something about his friend. His friend wore a t-shirt that said something like that had like one of I've forgotten the inscription. So it
mm,
was just like maybe a t-shirt that said maybe hi, my name is something.
mm.
That type of thing can just be an
Really
easy,
catchy and stuff.
yeah, an easy conversation starter. So even with people that struggle, for instance, because I know you might hear events and it's just like, oh, God,
You don't
please,
want to talk
oh,
to millions of
please,
people.
I
Yeah.
don't want to start networking. And there's this overuse of the word networking,
Yeah.
right? Where it almost means like you have to suck up to people and all of
Mm,
that. But it's really not always the case. You can just engage in conversation with people.
yeah.
Think about it as a conversation. Think about it as
Yeah.
having interactions, right,
Yeah.
with people, right, which is something that I think that at this point you should be taking note of. We've
Yeah.
not gotten into like maybe more details about the
Yeah.
conversation, but just at the beginning we already have something that is this important.
Yeah. Okay.
So with the events,
Yeah.
starting the events and where you are now, how would you say the reception has been? Because what something that I've noticed, right, I've been in marketing for a bit now, and
Okay.
you know we've seen people say, or people degrade the importance of events, right? Because they'll
Mm,
say, oh, it costs so much money to host an event. What's the real value of having an event? Yada yada yada. There's always a lot to say about events and how, okay, there is really no purpose, or there's really
yeah.
no goal at the end of the day, right? But with you, right, I'm hearing you speak a lot about value,
Yeah.
right? So would you say that starting the event and the value that it provides to people, would you say that it's commiserate for you? Would you say that that's something that you think is enough, right? Getting that value to people's tables, would you say is something that is enough, or is there something else you're gunning for?
So, um, first of all, let me go back to the networking part of things.
Yeah.
So, in terms of networking, I've seen that yes, people say that is a lot. The whole networking thing has been, really what's the word, overflogged, the word itself.
Yeah.
And I think that the moment people start thinking about networking has not the means to an end.
And yeah.
So personally, on a personal note, here's how I think about networking and how I go about it. First off is you've got to have some sort of value to offer people in terms of
Yep.
at some point I stopped going to events, even if I do events, but I stopped going to events if I'm not speaking, because what are you going to tell people? You're going to tell them, okay, hi, good day, my name is Clinton, I run Spark, blah blah blah
Mm,
blah blah. But when you go to events and you kind of understand what the end goal is for you.
for you.
Now let me give you for an instance. Some people come to these events because they just want to meet new people
Mm-hmm.
that could potentially be part of their life or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And when you go to these events, you shouldn't be going to the with the goal of, if everybody I meet must be a partner. Everybody I meet, I
Must do
must close
business with
close
them.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly. You might not actually do business now,
Hmm.
but if you have some sort of value, you also build that relationship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It could really be of value to you way ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Kelechi. So I'm friends with Kelechi for like a long while now,
Okay.
and she first came to our Abuja events, right?
Okay.
And interestingly, Capricorn has never sponsored our events at
I don't
all.
understand. Did you come? Did you
Yeah.
come here to drag
So
us?
they haven't. I don't know why Kelechi hasn't. But then see it this way. So when she came to our events, was just to really participate and
Mm.
speak. And normally I could have said, oh, Kelechi, I mean, yeah, Sterling has come. Okay. You're not sponsoring now. All right. Thank you. Bye bye. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And but then along the line, I kind of like kept that relationship, and I was like, okay, along you guys haven't still sponsored our events, but then I was like, okay,
Clinton,
there are other
did you
opportunities
did you
there.
carry us in your mind?
No, 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 no. So
Mm.
there are other opportunities that we could
Yeah.
explore
Mm-hmm.
together
Mm-hmm.
that could be really beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And those ideas didn't come until say 3 years later.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when people are thinking about networking or building relationships, they should think about it with not an a means to an end mindset,
Yeah.
but like an ever evolving activity, right?
Yeah.
There are people I have met like 4 5 years ago that we only started doing things this year or last year, right? So one thing you want to do when you think about events and networking at events is define the goal you're coming to those events for. Am
Yes.
I coming because I want to really just meet new people who are doing amazing things? And what we try to do at our events is we try to make the audience rich, so that people you meet here, there's a higher potential of them having some sort of accomplishments. Because
Yes.
to be honest, people roll with people who already have some sort of accomplishments. You've already made some impact, right?
Yeah. Let nobody lie to you.
Exactly,
Honestly.
exactly. So,
Honestly.
to be very honest, this is why you need to take your life seriously. You understand? You understand? You need to take your life seriously. No, 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 no. Don't take it any other way. I'm just being.
Which type of person is this?
No, I'm very serious.
Oh my god.
Whatever thing you're doing, you
Yeah.
need
You
to
need to
take it
take your life seriously.
seriously, because you know if you look at if you look at the next there needs to be a defined vision for you as a person. You need to make sure you kind of like step out of your comfort zone and take really actionable steps,
Yeah.
because you will see that it is always on the battleground that you would meet other fighters.
Uh-uh.
Do you understand?
Uh-uh. Deep.
No, no.
Deep.
So, and it is on the battleground that you would get to see people who are of, either more strengths, more
Yes. True.
tactics.
True.
You get
True.
that is where people get to, show off who they are really, and you also get to really kind of see, okay, uh, and you also get to really perform well with those
Yes.
high players. So let's not lie, you need to take your life seriously, and you need to ensure that you keep on making. Now impact could be anything. Impact might not be like, what's his name now, the guy that's a chess guy,
Okay. Tunde. Tunde
Tunde.
Onakoya.
Impact might not really mean going to fly, impact
Yeah.
1,000
True,
lives.
Sha. You
You
may not.
get
You may not break a
exactly,
world record.
exactly. So
Yeah.
impact could be as little as getting your job done. You work at a 9 to 5, and you just know how to get things done. Do you
Yes.
understand? And people
Yes.
can vouch for you. They're like, Okay, do you know Kelechi? I know her from here, from there, from there. So you just need to try and get things done.
Done.
And when you come to events, you want to look out for, who can I work with? Who can yeah, at least have a goal. Most times people might not really have a goal of they just want to come and vibe, and But if you come to these events, you want to have a defined goal, and we will try as much as possible to ensure that we meet that goal for
Yeah.
you. And on the other question of net of with these events
Yeah.
and the value. So, like I said earlier, how we think about this is that we need to try and think around the experience for people and
Yes.
ensure that at least they get some sort of value from these events, you know. And value could be as little as being inspired. Do you understand? I can count countless times, or I can remember countless times where I've seen people say, "Oh, they were at Africa Sarah Festival," and the number of businesses and startups that they saw, they started rethinking their life. That is some sort of
Yeah.
inspiration. Do you understand?
That's true actually. I was at like I told you I was at the
Yeah,
last startup festival,
yeah,
and I saw somebody there. His name is Noel. He's doing a fantasy football thing,
yes,
right? And he's organic, he's homegrown, he's
yes,
Nigerian, and he
yes,
built that. I don't play football, right? But I
yeah,
know how seriously people take fantasy football. So to
yes,
see somebody that is actually building something like that
something,
here,
exactly,
it's crazy. Like really, you will start taking your life seriously
exactly,
because you will meet people that don't have two heads.
exactly,
You will meet, and the man is an older man. He's not even
yeah,
like maybe like a curious teenager or
yeah,
something that's trying to. He's building it with purpose, right,
mm,
in adulthood, and it's very inspiring because really,
yeah,
like you said, you need to take your life seriously. I think
Exactly.
that's going to be the title of this episode. You need to take
Take
your
your
life
life serious.
seriously.
Yeah. So yeah, that is it. We How we think about experience is that we want to look through the in and outs, the
Hmm.
details. Okay, every stakeholder at these events, from exhibitors to partners to attendees to speakers, we think around like the experience, and we try as much as possible, to ensure at least we make it worth their
Yeah.
time. Do
Hmm.
you understand? And yes, definitely, there are issues that come up at these events, and if you would ask me if it's a rewarding activity,
Yeah.
not so much, not so
Mm.
much. Yeah, not so much, because um it's not really as you would expect. But at least I know the things that really keep us going
Yeah.
is things like, number one, the impact that we see. And I think also the fact that we know that, it's a journey. So we can't
Yes.
just say, okay, I mean, we are how many we are barely 2 years in this, and
Mm.
two at least 3 years. So we can't say, because it is not working. So let us pack up and go home. All right. So yeah, and then also because how we think about this is we need to at least be doing this for at least a decade before we say, okay, what is the next thing. So
You're playing the long game.
exactly. So
Mm.
if it fails, it fails. But at least we tried.
Honestly, at least you tried. Yeah.
Exactly. So at least we stepped out to do
Mm-hmm.
something.
See, the thing about one thing that I've learned, like at my job, is the idea of, okay, you failed.
Mm,
What next? Like, there is no need to dwell too much
yeah.
on the, oh, it didn't work out,
Yeah.
right?
At least you just have to ensure you have a contained failure, though. Not
Yes.
a failure. Not one that EFC is at your door tomorrow.
Fair enough. Fair
At least
enough.
a
Yeah,
contained
yeah.
failure,
Don't go
right?
and do the one that will make
No
them
one
to
said
call police for you.
exactly.
But yeah, definitely. Like it's okay. It's okay to do something. And
Yeah.
this is not even. Do you know that some people think that they are failing
Mm,
at stuff?
mm,
Meanwhile, they're just at the beginning.
yeah.
There is. I don't want to sound too deep, right?
No,
But
shoot, shoot, Queen. Yeah.
see, I've told you you're Gen Z. You can't
Yeah.
convince me
Don't worry.
otherwise.
Shoot.
So there's this thing that I need people to understand,
Mm,
especially young people. You are 25 and you feel like, oh, because you've not yet landed a role that pays you $5,000, that means the work that you have that is giving you 250K is failure. You are failing. Everybody has a story. Every project has a story. Every project has its own unique timeline, its own unique delivery. You are not where you want to be now does not mean that you are failing or that you have failed. Give yourself grace. Give yourself time. And sincerely, right, take your life seriously, because your excuses are only valid for a limited period. There was something I was going through personally, and I just had to be real with myself. You can keep giving excuses of, oh, this one is not there, oh, that one is not there, oh, and that is how all these excuses will culminate into you getting to a point where after 1 year you've not made any significant progress, because each time that you should have taken a leap that will lead you into something different, you were stuck complaining or feeling bad about yourself or about where you were or where you are. Take life seriously. Yeah, that's
yeah.
me being deep.
Yeah, I think that was very deep, though. I got some. I had to clutch my pearls.